I had spent over 10 years behind the wheel of City Bus Route 108. In that time, it had become my second skin. I knew its every creak, every secret knock in the suspension, every taste of morning coffee from my thermos mixed with the smell of old leatherette seats. The night shift from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. was my personal kingdom, a world of muted light, rare passengers, and long, hypnotic pauses between stops. On that fateful night, everything started out as usual. 10:30, I left the depot in an almost empty bus. The first few hours passed in a familiar rhythm. Students returning from classes, a couple of tipsy friends, a night cleaner with 2 huge bags. By 1 in the morning, the only person left in the cabin was an elderly woman with a walker, whom I dropped off at a shabby 5-story building on the outskirts. The door slammed shut, and I was left in complete, echoing silence, broken only by the steady hum of the engine. That's when I saw him. He was standing under a lone, broken street lamp at the old cemetery stop, a place where, according to legends, ghosts roamed, but where I hadn't seen a soul after sunset in 10 years. Tall, unnaturally thin, wrapped in a long coat the color of wet asphalt, his face hidden deep within a hood. He didn't raise his hand, didn't make any sign. He just stood there, seemingly staring right at me through the windshield. Something cold and heavy clenched in my chest. My instincts screamed to drive past, to hit the gas. But rules were rules. I habitually aligned the bus with the stop and opened the doors. He entered without a single sound. No footsteps, no rustling of fabric, just a wave of icy air smelling of rotten leaves, damp earth, and something else, sweetish and nauseating, like the smell of decay. He walked to the very back of the bus and sat down on the rear seat in the darkest corner. I pulled away, trying not to look in the rearview mirror, but I couldn't help it. In its reflection, he sat, perfectly still, his long, bony fingers crossed on his knees. He wasn't looking out the window, wasn't trying to see anything. His hooded head was pointed straight ahead, as if he was looking at me. The next stops were empty, but not entirely. At one stop, a young couple smiling stepped towards the entrance, but their smiles instantly vanished. They weren't looking at me, but somewhere deep inside the cabin. The girl gasped. The guy sharply pulled her back, and they stumbled away, running. At another stop, a man in a suit, his hand raised, froze with his mouth open, turned around, and quickly walked in the opposite direction. They saw something I couldn't see. Next stop is Zavodskaya, I said into the microphone, and my voice sounded unnaturally loud in the ringing silence. And then I heard it, a quiet, soundless whisper that seemed to appear right inside my head. Don't stop. My heart hammered wildly. I yanked the door handle to lock them, but it was too late. The bus was already slowing down by the yellow sign. There was no one outside the door, just the empty night. I sighed with relief and moved on. And again, that whisper, now more insistent, full of a non-human anguish. Never stop. He will get on. An icy sweat broke out on my back. "Who?" I whispered, forgetting I was talking to myself. In the rearview mirror, the figure in the back seat hadn't moved, but now I could see more. From under the hood, in the deep shadow, 2 points of light faintly glimmered. Not reflections, not eyes, just 2 tiny, dim stars of absolute darkness. I couldn't take it anymore. I veered off the route, speeding onto a dark country road leading nowhere. I pressed the gas, racing through the night, trying to escape, to shake off this passenger, to break out of this nightmare. The speedometer needle climbed. The trees outside the window merged into a solid black wall. I risked a glance in the mirror. It was empty. Relief, sweet and dizzying, flooded me. I turned my head to make sure. He was sitting right behind my seat. His hood was now thrown back. Where a face should have been, there was only a pale, wet mask of mist, deep within which floated those same points of non-light. A long, pale arm with thin, almost fused fingers slowly reached for my shoulder. I screamed as I had never screamed in my life. I jerked the wheel sharply. The bus crashed into a ditch, slammed into a tree, and came to a halt, flooding everything around with the light of its headlights. When I came to, the cabin was quiet and empty. The doors were wide open. I staggered out and ran, without looking back. In the morning, with 2 police officers, I returned to the scene. The bus was standing on the road as if nothing had happened. No dents, no marks from the tree. It was clean and empty. But when I got closer, I saw on the windshield, right at the driver's level, a single word written by a foggy finger. Thank you. I haven't driven since. I quit, sold my car, and rarely leave the house. But sometimes, deep in the night, I wake up to the sound of an engine humming. I go to the window, and I see it. Bus number 108. It slowly drives down my quiet street. Behind its wheel sits a tall, thin figure in a dark coat. And in the cabin, on every seat, sit pale, silent passengers. Their empty eyes stare right into my window. He's still working the route. He's still collecting his collection. And I know that one day he will stop at my house again, not to take me, but to show me that my place behind the wheel is already taken forever.